The following lesson is for integers, adding and subtracting. Okay, this lesson is on positive and negative numbers. Positive and negative numbers, one of my favorites. Okay. Now, a few things to remember before getting into this lesson. If you have a number line and there is 0 in the middle, and let's label 3 over here and 3 more over here, we know these are positive numbers and these are negative numbers, right? So that's the first thing to remember, is that negative is on the left side of the number line. I'm going to shorthand write that. And positive is on the right side of the number line, and it goes all the way from negative to positive. So let's just go into a few examples. So if I have the numbers negative 12 and I'm comparing it to the number negative 8, then if I had a number line, then a 12 would be all the way over here. So we have negative 12, which is further away from the 0 than a negative 8. Therefore, negative 12 is less than negative 8 because it is further away from the 0. The more negative you are, the less friends you have. Your value is less. That's probably a really bad example, but that's one way to remember it. If I had two other numbers, negative 7, and I wanted to compare it to the number 9, well, anytime there's a negative number and a positive number, that is easier to remember because all positive numbers are greater than negative numbers. Therefore, negative 7 would be less than negative 9. So let's put some numbers in order. If I have negative, well, let's say I have 4, negative 4, 0, and 7. And I want to put these numbers in the correct order from least to greatest, okay? I want to put them in their right order from least to greatest. Well, who's my biggest negative person here? Oh, it looks like, well, there's only one negative. So therefore, I know I can cross out negative 4. It is my smallest number because it is the most negative. It's negative. I don't want to be around a negative number. So which number comes next? We have 0, 4, and 7. Well, I know 0 is smaller than both the number 4 and 7, so 0 would come next, then 4, and then 7. Let's do it one more time. I want to use the numbers 0, 1, negative 2, and negative 5. Now, if I were to put these in order, 1, 2, there's 4 numbers. Okay, let's see. First thing I ask myself, are there any negative numbers? Yes, there are. There are 2 negative numbers. Which one is the most negative? Oh, the number 5 is, so that one is going to be at the back of the line. We're going to put all the most negative numbers, they go way to the back. So negative 5 is first, so I can cross that out. Who's the next one? That's negative 2. Then I crossed it out. Who's smaller, 0 or 1? 0 is smaller, and then 1. That is positive and negative numbers. So now things are going to get even more interesting. So let's make a little squiggly line as we get deeper to understanding these positive and negative numbers. So now there's a few rules you need to remember. There's some things that you're going to have to remember before getting into this part of the lesson. All right? Anytime you see a number, let's use, for example, the number 6. right? And then I'll use the number 4, and I'll make the 4 negative. When a number does not have a sign on it, that number is considered to be positive. All right, so I don't have to put a plus sign to make it a positive. It can be a positive without the plus sign. I can choose to put a plus sign, but I don't really want it. That looks kind of weird to walk around with a cross around, okay? So the 6 is considered a positive number even though it does not have a plus sign attached to it. And negative numbers always have negatives attached to it. You can see their negativity, all right? So just remember that. That's something to remember. Also, there is a general rule. Now, in the 5th grade, this is not a rule that you would see yet because it's for a higher level. But when adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers, there's a rule that always works. And I'm going to share it with you now, even though you don't have to know it. So it goes like this. When adding, now I'm going to shorthand, right? When adding or subtracting numbers, take the smaller number from the bigger number and then give your answer the sign of the bigger number. All right, this rule always works. The sign of the bigger number. This might seem very strange in the 5th grade, but trust me, that's going to help you on later in life. If you are trying to look for a way out, that is your way out of using pictures to help you. Again, whenever you are adding or subtracting numbers, make sure you take the smaller number. Now remember, this only applies to adding negative and positive numbers, or adding or subtracting negative and positive numbers. You take away the smaller number from the bigger number, and then whatever answer you get after you do that, give it the sign. When I say the sign, that means positive or negative of whichever one of your numbers are bigger. But that's not what we're learning today. Let's get straight into it. So in order to understand this, you're going to use something called an Algebra Mat. So you're going to have to draw something like this. This is called an Algebra Mat. All right, so for all your problems, this is what you're going to make. This is going to help you. We're going to put the negative on the left side. Why? Because remember, negatives are on the left side of the number line. And then we're going to put a positive sign on the right side. This is how we always set up your Algebra Mat. So let's say I want to do this problem up here, 6 plus negative 4. I want to find out what is this answer. Well, the first rule states, and something important to remember, we have to remember what are subtrahends and minuends, okay? Minuend is the first number that you write down. So right here, this number 6 is called a minuend. All right, that's the number that you take away from. It's the first number, okay? The minuend. And the second number is called the subtrahend. There's a few ways to remember that. You can remember it by saying sub-second, because it's the second number, or subtra, which means to subtract from, okay? So any way you want to remember it, just remember that that's going to be repeated many, many times, and you're going to need to know that. The first number is the minuend, the second number is the subtrahend. You're going to hear me keep repeating that. All right, so the first rule states that you need to draw the number of dots.
It's 12 o'clock.
Draw the number of dots of the minuend. There are 6 did 6. The minuend is 6. Now this 6 is a positive 6, so it will be on the positive side of the algebra mat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's the first rule. You need to make the amount of dots of the minuend and make sure you put it on the right side. If this was a negative 6, it would have went on the negative side, but it's a positive 6. Now I have to add negative 4. Negative 4 is the subtrahend. It's the second number. So all I have to do now the 4 is negative, so I have to put those dots on the negative side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to cross them out. And when I cross it out, okay, I'm going to cross, every time I cross one out on the left, I cross one out on the right, okay? So I'm crossing it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am left with 2. And I know that that 2 is going to be positive because the 2 is on the positive side of my algebra map. Now, I'm going to do a few examples to better help you understand. All right, so let's draw another algebra mat. Okay, and draw this mat. And for this one, let's make the problem 5 plus negative 3. 5 plus negative 3, and I want to find the answer to that. I'm going to make my mat, put the negative, and put the positive. Okay, so with that being said, remember the first thing I do is write the amount or draw the number of dots of my minuend. Those are 5 dots. Where do they go? They go on the positive side. They go on the positive side because it is a positive number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I need to add negative 3. So the 3 is going to go on the negative side. And as you can see, I am matching them up. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to cross out everyone that has a pair. I crossed it out, which left me with 2. And that 2 is positive because it is on the positive side. Let's do another one because some of them are a bit different. So I want us to run into one that's a little bit different so you can understand how it works. Again, I'm drawing my algebra mat, negative and positive. For this one, it's going to be negative 7 plus 4, and we need to find what that is. My first rule says write down the number of the minuends. There are negative 7, so it's going to be on the negative side. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I have to add 4, all right? I'm adding 4. Is that 4 positive or negative? It's positive, so it's going to go on the positive side. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to cross out everyone that has a pair. And what's left? I have 1, 2, 3 left. And that 3 is negative because it's on the negative side of the algebra mat. Are we getting that? All right, let's do another one. All right, so I have a box here. Now, this is a long video, but it's good. It's going to cover everything you need to know about positive and negative numbers. So for this one, I'm going to do negative 2 plus negative 4. So negative 2 plus negative 4 equals, that's what I'm trying to find. I'm going to draw my algebra mat, negative on the left side, positive on the right side. So first thing I do, now this one is a bit different, so let's pay attention. It says write down my first number, which is the minuend. It's a negative 2. I made negative 2. But now I have to add negative 4. So look at that 4. The 4 is negative, so I'm not going to the positive side. I'm going to add those 4, 2, 3, 4 to the negative side because it is a negative number. And now all I have to do is add all these numbers up. There's no crossing out right now because they're all on the same side. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My answer is 6, and I know it's a negative 6 because they are on the negative side. This is the last example I'm going to do for this type of problem. Okay. And here we have my final little box for this part of the lesson, okay? And I'm going to make this one simple. Let's go with 7 plus 1. Now we know what that answer is, but let's see how it looks on the Algebra Mat, still making negative and positive. So 7, I'm going to make my 7 first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I have to add 1. That 1 is positive, so I'm putting it down here, and that's going to give me a total of 8. And this is how you add positive and negative numbers. Now things are going to get a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now it's going to get a bit more interesting. We are going to be subtracting negative numbers, and you know, subtracting always brings an interesting way of doing the work. So let's title this one Subtracting Negative Numbers. Okay, I want you to take your time with this lesson. Do not rush it. If you have to pause and come back to the video another time, that's good. But I'm covering everything that has to do with positive and negative numbers. All right, we're going to be using a principle to do this lesson, so please make sure you're paying close attention. Right, so again, I'm going to make my mat, right? I'm going to make my algebra mat, and I'm going to make 2 of them because I know I have 2 interesting problems coming up. So let's make 2 algebra mats and go ahead and label them with your negative and your positive and your line down the middle. So we got negative and positive. Okay, so for this first one, I have negative 7 minus 2. As you can see, this looks a bit different. Negative 7 minus a negative 2. And I want to find out what that answer is. Over here, I'm going to have 7 minus a negative 2. That looks like an underscore, but it's not. 7 minus a negative 2, and I'm going to find out what that equals. All right, so let's do this. The first one, it says that I have negative 7. So I'm going to draw 7 negative counters, okay? So I'm going to go to the negative side, and I'm going to make 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then it says I need to subtract negative 2. Well, this is wonderful because all I have to do is take away, because it's still a negative number, I don't have to draw it. It just says, hey, out of those negative 7 you made, can you take away negative 2? I did that, and it left me with negative 5. Remember, there are 5 counters left, and it's on the negative side, so that my answer will be negative 5. Let's look at the next one. The first number happens to be a positive number, so it's 7 counters. I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The reason why you see I didn't make these dots straight down this time, because I know whenever I have 2 numbers and they have different signs, something strange is going to happen. I'm going to be making shadow dots, and I'm going to tell you what that means in a second. It involves a principle called the zero principle. So let's show you at first. So we have 7 positive, and I need to take away 2 negative. So now I have to jump over here to the negative side. Whoa, now that's different. We haven't done that one before. So I drew my 7 positive, and I have to take away 2 negative. Okay, Well, anytime you go to the opposite side, whenever your signs are different, you must create, using the zero principle rule, their matching parts. Now, once you make their matching parts, you can now cross it out from the negative side. My whole goal is to have all my dots lined up together so that I can see it clearly. So I did my 7 dots and I took away 2. The reason I put -2 on the negative side is because the -2 is the 2 is a negative number. Anytime I do that, I have to draw 2 dots to match each one of those numbers. Now I simply count what is left on my positive side, and that would be 9. Now that might have sounded strange, but we're going to do a couple examples, and you're going to see it's going to get even more. Remember, part of the reason is when I wrote 7, it's asking me to take away -2, but the positive side doesn't have -2 to take away. The positive only has positive numbers. So I put the -2 on the negative side where it belongs, and then I just create its shadows. I just make some little shadow dots so it can be on the other side. You cannot take away -2 on the positive side because the positive dots don't have negative dots. All right, you'll understand that even more as you follow along. Okay, so let's look at this example. I'm going to draw another mat. I'm going to try to go speed it up a little. Draw another mat. Again, we have a negative side and a positive side. I'm also going to draw another one because all of them require making these mats, right? Draw another one, and that's negative and positive. So for this first one, it's going to be 3 minus -2. And for the second one, if you think you can do it, you can pause it and try it out yourself. Come back. If you didn't get it, just pay attention. We have a few that we're going to do to make sure that you understand. So for this first one, let's look at the minuend. The minuend is a +3, so I'm going to make 3 positive dots that are hanging out and having fun. Then I have to subtract -2. Now I can't put those -2 on the positive side because that's not right. You can't just put 2 negative dots over here on the positive side. So they are going to go where they belong, on the negative side. But once I do that, and remember, I'm subtracting those 2. As I took them away, I created their positive shadows, their positive shadow dots on the other side, which now I can add them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My answer is 5. Let's look at this one. My minuend is a -2. Ooh, so we're starting on the negative. So that's 1, 2. Ooh, this one is really, really, really tricky. So now I need to make 6. Now it says there are -6, but I already have 2. So all I have to make is 4 more. Okay, I know that one can seem a little strange, but remember, for every -1 I make, I have to create the positive dot to go with it. I'm going to cross out 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it leaves me with a +4. All right, even when I was learning this, I was like, whoa, what just happened? So let me explain that one again. My minuend is a -2, so I made 2 dots. All right, so I made my 2 dots, but then I had to take away -6, but I did not draw 6 dots. I didn't have to because I already have 2 that were not taken away yet. So I drew 2 dots, and then I had to draw 6. I needed a total of 6, so I made 4 more dots. Now I'm going to subtract the -6, remembering to make the positive dots, which gave me the answer of 4. Now let's look at this one here. That one tends to be probably the most confusing one. I am doing a few more problems that you might run into that looks pretty similar to the one that I just did. Again, I'm making the Algebra Mats, negative and positive, negative and positive. So this one is going to be 10 minus negative 4. And then the other one is going to be, let's make this one negative 4 minus negative 3. Okay, so first rule states that I write down the minuend. The minuend is the number 10. All right, and it's a positive 10. So I'm going to write down that 10 on the positive side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then I have to make negative 4. I have to make 4 negative little dots. 2, 3, 4. Now that I made the 4 negative dots, I have to remember when I subtract, okay, I'm going to be creating 4 dots that match. Okay, so I subtract. Anytime you make something on the negative end, you have to create its positive shadow. So I'm subtracting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I count what's left, and that's going to leave me with the number 14. Let's do another one. Actually, for this one, I want to do, let's make this negative 5, okay? Negative 5 minus 1, right? This is a good example. Negative 5 minus 1. So my minuend is a negative 5, so I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it says negative 1. All right, so I'm taking away negative 1, so all I have to do is cross one of them out, and it's going to leave me with negative 4. I'll do one last example for this type of problem. Again, subtraction tends to be the most interesting. All right, so this one is going to be 8 minus negative 3. Make this Algebra Mat. We have the negative side and the positive side. You write your minuend first, which is a positive 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to take away negative 3. Now remember, there are no negatives on my positive side, so I had to create them. And then when I created them, I made some shadows and I subtracted them. When I did that and I counted what was left, it gave me the answer 11. I hope that helps you understand that part. All right, so now let's put everything together. We're going to adding and subtracting. This is the last part. I should be finished in a few. Adding and subtracting. This is everybody, everything coming together. We have positive and negative, negative and positive. All right, so we've gone over quite a bit. So I'm just going to go straight into the examples. I'm going to do these examples for you. Hopefully it helps and you understand. Let me draw my Algebra Mats. We have 1. Wish I had a ruler so it can look a little bit better. 2, 3. That one was a little rough. And then this one is going to be 6 plus negative 5. This one will be negative 2 plus negative 5. And as you can see, I've spent a lot of time with this because this is something really important that you, gave the answer for this one. Well, I guess you can see that answer. All right, so, but I really need you to really spend good time with this because adding and subtracting integers are around for a really long time. They don't go away. It's not one of those math things that eventually just disappear. All right, so I'm going to do these last 6 problems, which are going to cover every type of problem that you will ever see. Okay, and if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to get it answered for you. Okay, so I've made my 6 algebra mats. We have negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, and positive. This one is going to be negative 5 minus 7. This one is going to be negative 4 minus a negative 5. Hopefully you see the type of problem that maybe you're struggling with, and this will help you out. 7 minus negative 9 equals. All right, first one, I'm going to write down my minuend. It's a positive 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My subtrahend is negative 5. Watch what I'm going to do this time. I'm not even going to bring them down. I'm going to leave them up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, at this point, I'm going to cross out the pairs. A pair for a pair, a pair for a pair, and then 1 for 1. All right, which leaves me with a positive 1. Now, let's go to the next one. We have negative 2 as my minuend, so I'm going to make 2 dots. Then, oh, thank goodness, we have a negative 5. That means they're all on the same side. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is addition. That's why I didn't use those 2 dots that were up there. This is addition, so I'm adding more dots, all right? So when you add all these together, you end up with negative 7. Remember that. That's why I didn't cross out and just keep adding, because it is addition, so you have to add all of the dots. You can't use the 2 that are already there. So negative 3, I'm going to make 1, 2, 3. And then on the positive side, we have 2. 1, 2. You're going to cross out your pairs, which will leave you with the negative 1. Let's look at negative 5. Here comes a tricky one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have a positive 7. Okay, so your subtrahend is a positive 7. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, you need to make their shadows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And once you do that, you're not going to cross out pair for pair. That's not what happens here. I will cross out the 7 that I made because it's saying that I need to subtract 7. I'm subtracting positive 7, which will leave me with a negative 12. Keep in mind that this rule only happens in subtraction. In subtraction is where you'll see this discrepancy or this difference, right? Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my subtrahend is asking me to take away negative 5. In this case, all I have to do is make 1 more, and remember, I have to make its shadow. Okay, I'm making its shadow, right? And I'm going to take away the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which leaves me with a positive 1. Now for this one with 7, I'm making 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then for my subtrahend, it's going to be negative 9. So I'm going to make 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, and because I had to take away 9, I'm going to make their shadows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many did I took away? I took away -9, so I'm crossing them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it leaves me with 16. That is the end. I hope this helps you.